It's a shame I have to talk about this because, for the most part, this race was actually pretty good. From flag to flag, it was rock solid. Again, another Gen 7, race at a mile and a half that's really good. And that's not really going to be a talking point in this video because there's a big, overlurking problem or just an incident that occurred in this race that's going to take over everything about any good that this race had. And we're going to talk about. That's going to be pretty much the whole point of this video. It's barely going to be a race review. It's going to be basically a fucking rant because there's a lot I have to say. You should know why by the title and the thumbnail. But as far as the race is concerned, really solid. There might have been a little bit too much tire issues here and there, but it was, by comparison to other tracks, this was so minuscule. 8 out of 10. It was a very fine race. It was nice. It was pretty good. But with the race review out of the way, we're going to talk about the big elephant in the room. So, Kyle Larson basically just didn't really lift and put Bubba in the wall. I don't think it was intentional, but definitely Larson's fault. I think everyone can come to a consensus agreement that Larson done goofed, and that was bad. What happened? Everything afterwards is about as blatant, gross, and just disgusting as possible. Bubba Wallace just takes, turns left and destroys Larson. And in the process of all that, it takes out a playoff contender, Christopher Bell, who had nothing to do with it. The fact that this happened is some of the biggest just garbage, disgusting shit possible. I mean, I get it. I get Bubba being upset, but you don't just turn fucking left on someone like that. On a track you go 180 miles a fucking hour on the front straightaway. That is just reprehensible trash. And I wish NASCAR could just get that fucking hammer and put that shit down and be like, you know what? Boys can have at it. Let's put things in the driver's hands. But there has got to be that fucking line in the sand. Because when is enough? When is it enough? I don't think a points penalty, when it means nothing to him because he's not in the playoffs and it means jack shit, or a casual $100,000 fine when they make millions of dollars, does anything. Even if they're inconsistent, because with Hamlin and Byron's situation, I mean, that probably should have been I don't know, but I feel like this warrants a fucking suspension for the rest of the whole season. I think so. For not only just that incident in general, but it took out a playoff contender of Bell who had nothing going on. And it's extra worse. It's extra worse because NASCAR has adamantly stated that these cars aren't as safe as they should be. So this is not only just, it's a gigantic safety hazard. Even if this was in Gen 6 era and the cars are safe speed, you don't do that shit. There is never a point in time where just blatantly hooking someone on a mile and a half, short track, road course, is acceptable. It's not. There's varying, tiers of bad, horrendously egregious at, a super speedway, then a mile and a half, so a tiny bit below that, and then a short track. Maybe we could go by that route, but in general, this is a horrific look. And this just compiles on so much just trash and controversy week after week. I mean, we barely talk about the playoffs or just the implication stuff because there's so much other shit going on. Whether it's being Tony Stewart being pissed off or just getting fed up with NASCAR, Harvey calling stuff out, or the Cole Custer penalty and that controversy, or the Texas shenanigans with all that happening with the tire issues. Like it's like every week there's some. We're barely talking about the racing anymore, and it's really depressing because like this race was if you take everything that incident out, like everything was fine. But that incident is going to overshadow everything. And what pisses me off the most is I don't know how far NASCAR is going to go with penalizing him. I don't know. Because Bubba didn't admit to it. Byron did, and that's how he was able to get some kind of penalty. But because Bubba came up with a bullshit excuse of, the steering didn't work, maybe there could be some truth to that. But if it actually did occur, then why was he so pissed off at Larson? Wouldn't he be going over there to explain, like, hey, my steering, that wasn't intentional? Like, no, he was pissed about it and was pushing Larson around and everything. That doesn't give me the vibe of someone that had a steering issue go wrong and then hooked him. I don't buy that bullshit. I don't. NASCAR didn't buy it back in 2015 when Kenseth said something like that. Remember? Maybe nobody remembers that because it's been 7 years ago. But yeah, they didn't tolerate that shit. So what is because Bubba came up with a bullshit excuse that anyone with literal fucking eyeballs can look at and be like, yeah, that was pretty intentional. But because he didn't admit to it, even though it's so obvious of what his intent was, he's gonna get the pass. Even if it's consistent with what they did for like with the Byron Hamlin thing at Texas. I feel like there has to be a moment where some kind of penalty, some kind of suspension, not even a penalty, a suspension has to fucking happen. What does it have to take? And mind you, Bubba Wallace is... I'm getting fucking pissed thinking about it. Two other things that lingered on this weekend that makes this incident even more just disgusting is one, Bubba Wallace's teammate Kurt Busch had a heartfelt press announcement saying that he can't race full time anymore. When he was saying that, it choked him up. And that's his fucking teammate that it affected because these cars aren't as safe as they should be. Yet Bubba does an incident that could potentially injure someone in a car that is objectively had problems. That is disgusting and just terrible. Then the other thing is this is 10 years to the day, and 10 years to the day of the same track where Dan Weldon lost his life in IndyCar. Granted, different series, different circumstances. But that should be just a reminder of that racing is always going to be dangerous. And turning someone like that is unacceptable. And something has to be done. They didn't even really do a whole heck of a lot with the Gregson shit at Road America. We took out 13 fucking people. So I'll be amazed if they'll suspend them. I don't think they'll go that far. I would fall out of my chair. Because I don't know if they have the balls to go that far. But I am just sick and tired of the controversies, the bullshit. Like just it's not even about the playoffs anymore. It's all about the controversies, team orders, the NASCAR stuff with Dale Jr. saying that he doesn't even want to start a team because there's not a return investment in the profit. And that's coming from Dale Jr., who, I mean, is probably one of the most richest people maybe ever in NASCAR that's currently alive. I mean, he's got to be up there. But if someone as wealthy as Jr. doesn't think there's going to be a return on investment, what's the hope for anyone else? Maybe 23-11 because Michael Jordan's there. But owning a chart is like $30 million fucking dollars. That's already just an insane amount. But just... And then, it's there's just so much drama, and we're not even talking about the fucking racing anymore. Either the racing has been just a complete shit show like the Roval was, or Texas with every, like Talladega was the only one that I could think of in the last month where that was just okay. It was a safe race. It was a simplistic race, and that was okay. But there's other than this race, other than that in Talladega, like the last actual good race, like well above average, was Kansas. And that was about like over a month ago. And this one would be too, but there's just too much. This Bubba Wallace incident is just shit. And part of me likes him, and part of me dislikes him. The dislikes, I mean, I do think there is a part of it that he gets unjustified hate. But in this instance here, this is just unacceptable. It's just wrong. That should not. That just terrible. What do I say? What do I say to that? This is not the first time Bubba Wallace has been an asshole to someone. Kyle, he did the same thing to Kyle Busch at Watkins Glen, which I don't remember the whole context. But no matter who's right and who's in the wrong, Bubba did just dump Kyle Busch at Watkins Glen back in 2019. The Roval where he was basically about trying to fight a dehydrated Alex Bowman that was like on the ground, needing like medical assistance, and like was trying to pick a fight with the splash wide. It's like that was just gross and disrespectful and just terrible, and that was just wrong. Just unnecessary. So Bubba Wallace has had a past of similar incidents, so I'm not totally shocked. I just thought, maybe part of me was thinking, okay, these were in the past. This was 2019 that those issues occurred. Maybe that hasn't, I thought Bubba was better than that, but I just don't understand using your car as a fucking weapon on track, especially in the context of everything now with how unsafe these cars are. Like, it still would have been unacceptable if this was Gen 6 era. Still would have been pissed. But it's that extra notch. It's that 11 out of 10 just disapproval of that. And it's it's just fucking sad. I don't know. It's just, and that's what really bugs me the most. The fact, obviously, too, with his teammate, having being out because of all this and of these cars. It's gross. David Lamb made a good video talking about all these types of points, and Harvick looks like he's wanting to get out by next year, which would make sense. I mean, I would be out too. I would be fed up with this shit too. So, I don't know. It's just, that was just a horrific look. Doesn't make the sport look good. I mean, it's just like, it feels like every week there's just some kind of drama. And I mean, it's great in terms of like making videos like that, but that's like, I don't think bad publicity is going to be good publicity. I feel like that doesn't really do anything. That just makes people be like, well, this is just such a farce and just a complete shit show circus. Like, I don't know what the hell is going to go on, but I don't know. But it's just very sad. Just, I don't even know what more I can possibly add to it. I guess to reiterate it one more time, Larson's at fault for putting Bubba on the wall. I don't know if it was intentional. I can't imagine it would be intentional, but I think it's just more of like a racing deal. Larson is completely in the fault. I 100%. I think I'm going to be within the majority here and agree that, yeah, Larson done goofed, done messed up. Bubba has the right to be mad, but there's a time and place to be mad. You don't use your race car as a weapon going 180 goddamn miles an hour. That is ridiculous. That is just, I don't know. And like, I wish something could be permanently done to lay that fucking hammer down, to be like, this is wrong. You don't do that. Because one of these days, I mean, for all we know, it could have been a weird, bizarre freak accident. Or it could have been the same vein as, Atlanta 2010, what Edwards did to Brad. He turned him on the front straightaway going 180 plus miles an hour, and it flipped him over. And his hood hit the freaking outside wall. And it caved in. It could have crushed his fucking head. For all we know, that could have been like a weird weight shift blowover type of thing that we've seen in the past. But I don't know. I mean, who knows? But you don't do that. That's not good. And I'm just tired. And this is what makes it frustrating to watch, because like there's certain drivers that I either just don't care about, or there's certain ones that just do disgusting shit like that on track that is so careless, and so negligent, and as David Lance said, tone deaf on the whole subject of this. I don't know. I'm done. I got nothing more to say. I already kind of did a quick race review. I don't want to talk about this shit anymore. We'll see what happens. NASCAR apparently didn't even call him to the hauler after the race, which you would think, that would deserve it. But I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't know. It's just gross. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with it. See what they do. I mean, if they just give them a points penalty and a fine, I kind of expect that, but I wish it would be more. I don't know. Turning some. I don't know. It's frustrating. I'm tired of. It's just like I was saying. I just wish you could just be talking about the fucking race and all that stuff, but just so much. All that just kind of just overdrew everything, and it's a shame because the race was good. I wish I didn't have to talk about that scenario occurring and just talk about the race, because like the race was fine. There was comers and goers. Tyler was had this good fine line of like, some people, it just the fall off was pretty good, but you could kind of take two tires and kind of hold your own a little bit. There was a nice reasonable balance, and people can go different lanes. It was good. It was good. My phone's blooping because probably NASCAR hates the fact I'm criticizing, because there was this Corey LaJoy article thing on Twitter, and NASCAR was basically like almost crying to the drivers about how they didn't like being called out for their problems, and it's like, oh my god, that's such a soy boy beta, like just oh god, I don't know. I'm done. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm done. And that's it. Have a good day, everyone.